Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 1.17. Now let's start understanding the whole concept of this sutra. In this section, Muni Patanjali explains to us what are the 4 sub-regions that we encounter when we start withdrawing inwards. And now if you're someone that meditates or you're a yoga practitioner, you'll realize that when we start meditating, so many different things happen and we encounter so many sub-regions of our inner world that we didn't even know existed. And so Muni Patanjali in this sutra is laying out a little bit of a map for us so that we can understand and sort of foresee what we're going to experience in these 4 subdomains of the inner world. So let's start understanding what these different sections are. The sutra itself goes Vitarka Vichara Nanda Smita Anugamat Samprajñataha. And let's hear that one more time just to see how all of it sounds. Vitarka Vichara Nanda Smita Anugamata Samprajñataha. Now that we've understood the whole sutra, let's break it up and start understanding it even further. The first thing Muni Patanjali tells us, the first word is Vitarka. Now, mostly Vitarka refers to logical reasoning, but in this case, it also refers to something that is repressed or something that may have been a bad experience for us. The next word is Vichar, and Vichar is again referencing our thoughts, our thinking. At the same time, it's talking about good or nice experiences that we've had. The next few words are ANANDA, which means bliss or deep blissfulness. And the next word is ASMITA, which refers to the ego in most cases or the sense of I. And finally, we come to ANUGAMAT, which refers to following all these or comprising of all these. And the final word is Samprajñataha. Now this is referring to the state in which all is known or everything is understood and everything is describable. So now that we've understood this step-by-step guide, let's jump right into understanding what this sutra is talking about. Well, it's telling us that Samprajñat, or a state wherein we have all the details or information within us, comprises these 4 subsections of Vitarka, Vichar, Ananda, as well as Asmita. So now, why is Muni Patanjali telling us all of this? Well, he recognizes that sometimes it's better to know what you might encounter in your journey towards the inward practice of yoga so you can be prepared for what is to come. And sometimes we just dive deep into meditation or a very deep practice without knowing that there's going to be so many things that are going to start coming to the surface when you look inwards. The best example is this. Our mind is often compared to a small child who's constantly engrossed with the world outside and is so excited to see what's going on in the outside world. But once you ask that child to maybe sit in a room or put it into an indoor enclosed space, the child has no option but to play within what it has with it. And that's something like what happens to our mind. We are constantly engaging with the outside world through the senses, and then in meditation we're sort of asking our minds that, okay, relax, you need to now just close off the senses for a bit and withdraw inwards. So when the senses start going in, what happens is the mind's attention now goes inwards. And because it's all caught up in what's happening inside you, all kind of experiences are going to come to the surface. We have this misconception that when we meditate, we'll only experience good things or we'll only leave feeling a sense of lightness. But also sometimes when we're on the yogic path, we unlock different parts of ourselves that we had maybe repressed or suppressed earlier. And that's why meditation should ideally be practiced after you've done yoga for a while. However, if you're only practicing it for relaxative purposes, that's fine. But if you're doing it in a deep, meditative, yoga sadhana way, then ideally you should have a little bit of yogic practice so that whatever happens in your meditation practice, you're able to handle it. So let me give you some examples. Why is he talking about Vitarka as the first subdomain? Because when we start meditating initially and these, deeper parts of our mind start unlocking themselves, we may first encounter some memories, some emotions, maybe some past life experiences that we had repressed a little bit or forgotten about. And because of that, they might actually make us remember things that we didn't want to see. But it comes up so that we can work through it, handle it correctly, and then rise above it. So it's not for you to get entangled with those old memories. It's for you to now create space between that old memory and yourself, look at it from a more neutral perspective and bird's eye view, get over it because you've analyzed it, felt it, and understood it, and then move forward. So that's why Vitarka usually comes up first before the other more nice or good experiences. And I mean, this is something that we've also experienced in our daily lives. For example, when someone comments on our videos, we might have a lot of good comments, but if there's one negative or hateful comment, we'll just tend to focus on that because it sticks out like a sore thumb and we want to kind of deal with that first. And that's the same with our mind. If there's something that's bothering us and we've pushed it down, that is going to rise up first. We're going to have to deal with that and then move on to the more nice or the experiences that are more pleasant. So that is a little bit about Vitarka. The next stage that he talks about is Vichar. So now here Vichar is with reference to experiences that we would normally term as good or that we are actively feeling pleasant in. So that's why very often after meditation, people will say, I'm feeling so much lighter, I'm feeling more relaxed. It's because finally we've been able to experience the inner joy that we have within us, and that's making us feel all types of beautiful. It's making us feel so good, and we're able to then transfer that energy moving forward. But those little capsules of positive energy within us are like those hidden gems, it's like the pearl in the ocean. You have to crack open the shell to kind of eventually reach that pearl. It's the same with Vitarka and Vichara. We go through Vitarka to then reach the joyful moments of Vichara and then start moving forward. So that is number 2, which is Vichar, which are the thought waves that we experience sometimes in these deeper states as we're going on the path. And finally, the third word here that is being described is Ananda. And Ananda here refers to a very deep bliss or joy. And as we mentioned earlier, the more you go into your meditation practice, initially you might have thoughts, you might feel things, you might still actively be using your mind and thinking. But beyond a point, we enter a space more of experience rather than just thought. And when we come into that experiential space, we just feel bliss. We just feel good. We feel nearly elated, and that is an experience that is so difficult to describe. It's not construed by the mind, but it's felt more by the deep, essence of our being. And that's why it's known as Ananda. And after that, we are coming towards Asmita. So Asmita here refers to the I sense or the ego. So even bliss is an experience. It's something that we understand, we're feeling it. And that's because the feeling and the experiencer are two different things, right? Like when I'm saying I feel joy, joy and me, Anvita, are two different things. And that's why I'm able to experience joy. But when we reach Asmita, we come to that, the brink or the edge of being the experiencer. We realize that, all right, I'm experiencing joy, and if I go a little further in my meditation practice, I might even transcend that I sense or the ego sense that I have, and I might rise above feeling separate from this experience, and I might just become one with it, right? And of course, this is something that's super difficult to experience, takes a lot of years of practice. I personally also haven't experienced this for too long. It's just glimpses sometimes in meditation, but it is very, very challenging. And that's why it's described as a 4th region, where it takes a little bit of time for us to experience our ego sense completely and then go beyond it. So that is our Asmita. And finally, Anugamat, of course, is telling us that, hey, all of these four things comprise samprajñat. And finally, we come to the word samprajñat or sampragyat, depending on how you pronounce it. Different people from different parts of India pronounce the word gyat differently, or the sound gyat. So it entirely depends. But this word essentially is telling us that these are the four regions which we can describe with words. We can actually tell each other about it. But beyond these four regions of experience and meditation, we start reaching places that are not even possible to put into words. And that's why Muni Patanjali in future sutras describes these other states which are outside these four domains that we just spoke about. Those other states are just called anya, which means other. Because it's just indescribable, it sometimes just goes beyond even words, and that's why it is hard to categorize or define. However, these four that we just spoke about are possible to talk about, are possible to define, and that's why they've been described in this sutra. So let's run through them once again. Vitarka, number 1, Vichar, number 2, and the third one is Ananda, while the fourth one is Asmita. So now that we have all the four with us, we know what is going to happen when we delve deeper into the elements of meditation and the Antaranga Yoga, or the inner elements of yoga. I hope this has been an informative video and you've been able to understand all about Sutra 1.17. We look forward now to seeing you in the next video. Until then, please leave your comments in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any other thoughts, if you understand the Yoga Sutras in a different way, we'd love to hear. And also, please share this video with your family and friends, especially anyone that is interested in yoga philosophy or that might be studying the yoga theory and the yoga TTC. We'll now see you in the next video. Until then, take care, and we're going to see you very soon. Namaste.